Today we're going to be learning about flat shapes on the paper, 2 dimensions, and how to create a 3-dimensional looking piece on a piece of paper that is still really just an illusion. It will still be a flat piece of paper. Just write your name. This will just be a practice day at the top, and then write flat 2D on this side, on the left side, and sphere (3D) on the left side. Trace a circle under each. This one is just called a circle. But this one we want to turn into a sphere, or a rounded 3D object. We want height. We want, that's from top to bottom. We want width from side to side. Width. And yet, on a flat piece of paper, we want from front to back. How do we do that? That's called depth. Depth, like how deep the water is, how rounded and deep is your sphere going to become. Learning how to make something look rounded has got to do with how to create the shadows. So to make shadows, we need an opaque or non-see-through object. We need a light source, and we need a table or a space in which to cast the shadow. When the shadow comes from the right side, when the light comes from the right side, we see a bright spot, and then it slowly gets darker and darker until a shadow is cast on the ground in approximately the shape of the sphere. That's what we have to capture on our paper, just those shadows. If it's coming from the top, it goes right down. If the light source is coming from the left, you will see the shadow is cast to the right. Highlight, mid-tone, shadow, cast shadow. That's what they're called. And this is how to make them on a piece of paper to make your flat circle look rounded like a real ball or sphere. So what are the 3 dimensions again? 1 is height, 2 is width, 3 is depth. Here is a circle. We're going to turn it into a sphere. What we have to select is from which side the light is coming from. To make it even for everybody, let's have the light source hitting the circle or ball here. Now we need to have a table on which to cast a shadow. So we put a table, that's where the table is, right in here. Now it all depends on how hard you press with your pencil. For example, I'll make some lines down here for you to see. This is the ultimate dark. See how hard I'm pressing with my pencil? I couldn't even erase that if I wanted to. That is where the cast shadow goes. If I press medium, I get something that's a little lighter than that one. If I press not as heavy or strongly with my finger, I'll get something that's a little lighter from that. And if I don't put hardly any pressure on it, I get a very light value or shadow. So it can go from the ultimate darkness, which is the cast shadow, to the mid-tones, mid-shadows, to the highlights. That's where the light hits you. The highest light means highlights. High light. So if the light source, whatever it may be, is hitting here, we're not going to put much there. So let's draw on where you think the cast shadow would be. Somewhere this way as it washes over the ball or sphere. So that's where you would put the very darkest, because that's a given. It's going to be really dark in here. Color that in. Now we have the cast shadow. And because this is supposed to be a rounded ball, line counts too, besides just shadowing and the value of a color of a pencil. So we have to use rounded lines. So we're not going to press as heavy as that, which means we're going to be going into the midsection here of color. Of course, the darkest will be where the light gets it the least, and we're going to create a dark area where the light is not really reaching the sphere or the ball too much. And we're going to go around in the shape of a backward C. And then we're going to start lightening up the pressure on our pencil so that we get some of the highlighted areas, because we're getting closer to where the light is hitting this. So we're going to lighten up, and we're still going to be going in that circular line direction because this is supposed to be a rounded sphere or ball. And light, light, light until we don't have anything there in the middle at all. You can use your finger to blend it a little bit if you want. Some people like to do that. And blend in where the values go from extreme changes. Just rub your pencil over it a little bit and make it look like it all blends together from very light to dark to very dark. And this is how you create a 3D effect on a piece of paper. So there's a ball sitting there. If you would like, you can just add some coloring in for the table. You can sign your name here like most artists do in whatever signature you want. 2013. And voila, you have created the illusion of a rounded ball on paper. And that's all there is to it. Light source, opaque object, a place to cast a shadow.